Hello, everybody. My name's Jose Olmeda, and alongside we got two guys who know MMA very, very well, and we are going to be talking about UFC 200.
Mad Max, UFC 200 looks to be a very good card. Obviously, the GOAT, John Jones, is going at it with DC. And to argue with this is Dangerous Dan here on the other side.
How you doing, guys? I know a little bit about it, not too much. Some good fights on the card, though. Definitely look forward to this one.
Well, we got Max Garza, who is a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu, very dangerous, lethal guy, and we got Danny Salinas, who's a local, MMA fighter and dangerous, like you said as well. These guys know their stuff, and we're gonna be talking about UFC 200. Which, well, before we get into that, real quick, let's talk about on Thursday. There's gonna be a fight night on FS1, I believe, and we're gonna talk about just the main fight, which is gonna be for the UFC lightweight championship, and that's gonna be Rafael dos Anjos. Hopefully, I said that right. If Max, I think you can correct me because I know.
Let's go with RDA.
I think you had to, yeah.
Let's go with RDA.
Just to be on the safe side, RDA versus Eddie Alvarez. That's going to be for the lightweight championship. We'll talk about just that one, and then we'll shoot into UFC 200, which is a stacked card from top to bottom. Main card plus undercard. It's going to be an awesome event. Probably the biggest UFC event in all of all time, I think, because of just how stacked it is. But let's talk about RDA versus Eddie Alvarez. What do y'all think, guys, about that one? I mean,
Alvarez is going to get beat up. RDA is too big. His jiu-jitsu is legit. It's beyond me how the guy passes his steroid test every fight, but I think he's gonna put him on his back and pound him out.
That's RDA?
RDA, yeah.
Okay, but that's who you pick, right? That's who you think's gonna win. But what about who you going for?
I like Alvarez because he's Hispanic, but I'm a gambling man, so I got to go with the guy that I'm betting on.
All right. Dan, what do you think, man?
I think this fight actually has the ability to go either way. It just kind of depends on which Alvarez shows up that night. Eddie Alvarez has what people don't realize about him. He has a he's a very talented wrestler. I think he showed that in his last fight by taking down I can't remember exactly which, but I remember he took him down quite a bit.
Gilbert Melendez.
Yeah, and so he really pushed the pace on Melendez. Melendez isn't somebody that you normally bully. If he uses his boxing set correctly, uses his angles, and uses his footwork, I honestly think he can win this fight. I'm gonna go with Eddie Alvarez on the upset on this one. I really think if he goes out there and establishes his boxing, the thing with Dos Anjos is that his boxing is it's not quite up to par with Alvarez. What he does is he throws powerful punches at bunches. So if Alvarez is able to really kind of use his footwork, play the angle game, and then kind of just shoot in for takedowns when he overextends and stand back up, he has a really good chance in my opinion. Now, if the very first Eddie Alvarez that ever fought in the UFC shows up, then it's gonna obviously be I think it'll be a short night because you don't really make mistakes against someone that's world class like Dos Anjos. In my opinion, and I'm also going from personally, I really think Alvarez is gonna win. I know my coach is probably gonna be a little mad at me because he's really I think he's affiliated with Gordo, which is Alvarez's coach. So they might be a little angry at me for saying that, but I think I'm gonna go with Alvarez, man. I really think he has what it takes to be the championship. Right now, I think in the UFC period, we're just gonna go through a rotation. There's not a truly dominant fighter in any weight division, other than I think John Jones once he gets his belt back. But I might have jumped ahead too far. So
no, man, but you make a good point. I love it, man, because this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why these guys are here, because it's very insightful. They know their stuff, and that's a good point though, because for a long time I think a lot of people, and you've told me before, you think John Jones is the most dominant champion, and when you think about it, Anderson Silva was definitely one of them until he lost the belt, and then John Jones, who the hell, nobody beat him. Daniel Cormier didn't even beat him, and that's because he's supposed to be the lightweight champion, and
Matt
John
Hamill
Jones
has a win over him though.
Yeah, that guy's amazing. He beat him while getting his butt kicked, basically. How do you do that?
They taught him wrong on purpose. Since he was bleeding, he won.
But I gotta go with my pick for Eddie. I go for Eddie Alvarez also, man. Man, I remember that guy because I follow MMA a lot. I remember when he was coming up, he was fighting for these other promotions were, I think, was he at Bellator?
Champ for quite know.
Yeah, and
Elite
before
XC
that,
was-
yeah, man, Elite XC, exactly. But before that, he was fighting in a ring, like in Japan, kind of like traveling a lot. I think it was, I don't want to get it wrong. I think it was M1 or something like that. But anyway, he's been coming up for a long time. I've been following him, man. He's always been an awesome fighter. He's exciting as heck, you know. But RDA, man, like you said, he's a freaking powerful dude. And I don't know how the hell RDA changed, because the guy that Jeremy Stevens knocked out, when he didn't have a stand-up game, this guy now has a chin, and he's dangerous on the feet, man. Like, he's scary.
Do you believe all of this deserves the title shot, though? I mean, how many fights does he have in the UFC? Isn't he like 2-1?
I'm glad.
They gave him a title shot?
I don't think he does either, man. That's why I was kind of surprised. Like, have they ran out of people to put in there?
I think as far as, there's guys who have more wins that probably deserve it.
But I think that's why they gave Melendez and him the title. They were expecting Melendez to run over him.
Yeah.
He didn't do that. Obviously, I think Nate Diaz deserves to be up there more than anybody.
That'd be awesome, man.
But you know, the one who should have been there, he just can't stay healthy, is the Eagle. You know, Khabib. That guy handed him his, pardon my language, but he handed him his ass on a platter when they fought. Like, he just whooped his ass bad.
Oh, feel free to say whatever you want, by the way, guys.
Oh, yeah,
so don't worry about it.
You know,
Uncensored.
that guy should be the straight up champ right now. His just, you know,
Or at least #1 contender.
his knees just keep going out on him, which is the sad part. But you know, when you get somebody that's 155 pounds and taking down Daniel Cormier in practice, and taking down Cain Velasquez, he takes him down. He's a world class wrestler. I mean, the guy wrestled bears when he was a little boy.
I heard about that, but I didn't know that was true.
There's video of it.
Yeah, so I think that guy should. It's either between him and Nate, but you know, he has wins over Nate. I think he fought Nate. And he beat Nate. He beat Dos Anjos before. You know, he's anyone that they put in there, he's just pretty much sat on top of him, living hell out of him. So I think that's the outright. The person who should be #1. Pettis ran away from him religiously. You know, nobody wanted to fight him. So and rightfully so. I don't want to fight that guy. So forget that, man. I think that's the worst way to get your ass kicked, is for someone to sit on top of you and just smother the living hell out of you.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
that's
and he's dangerous on the feet and on the ground. You know, I mean, the guys.
Well, his stand-up's okay. His stand-up's okay, but I don't know, man. Khabib's just on another world, man. He's just that's just you know, when you get a high pedigree wrestler like that going in there with ill intentions to hurt you, it's never going to end up well for the other person. That's going to be. I think he should be there. But
Let me ask you, Dan. You fought bigger fighters. What would you say the percentage is of like how bad does it put you at a disadvantage at just sheer size?
My perfect example for that is always going back to BJ Penn, man. You can hang in there with obviously you can beat a bigger fighter with a lesser skill set than you. But when you get in there with a fighter that's evenly matched with you, and he just has those 10, 15, 20 pounds, and I mean, it starts to add up, man. Like, and I always tell different people, like, imagine tying a 15-pound dumbbell to your waist and then fighting somebody that's your size. Wow. I go, that it's that much of it. Like, that thing starts to move around, it starts to bother you, and it starts to really wear on you. So I think, you know, perfect example was Penn against Fitch. Penn went in there and whooped Fitch's ass for the first 2 rounds, and then Fitch's weight just warmed down, and his wrestling pedigree just started to warm down. He beat his ass for the last 3 rounds.
That's true.
St. Pierre and Penn again was another one. You know, Penn goes in there and stomps on him for the first round or so. His skill set is just higher. It's just, but you know, the weight just wears you down. So the weight pays quite a bit. I think.
So it wasn't necessarily his cardio; it was mainly because the weight difference, right? Because
if
I always noticed that, like the later
pop
rounds,
somebody off you. You pop somebody off you that weighs the same weight as you. You're okay because now you're pushing against the same type of weight. But you pop somebody off you, if you're lucky enough to get them off of you in the 3rd round, and then they take you right back down. Not only does the weight play a factor, but all of a sudden that mental ball starts to get higher and higher, because then you start saying, "Fuck, I can't get them off me. I can't get them off me," and then then cardio and your mind starts playing tricks on you. So it's definitely. That's why they build me classes.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. But that's an awesome, insight and stuff like that. I just want to talk about. I'm gonna go for Eddie Alvarez, but I do think because RDA has just looked so unstoppable lately, and Eddie Alvarez really. I mean, he's thrown some good punches and has rocked a few people, but I haven't seen him knock anybody down or knock anybody out yet. But I do think he got a #1 contender shot because he beat Gilbert Melendez and he beat the former champion Anthony Pettis. I think that's why he probably got the title shot, but. I don't think. I mean, man, I'm rooting for him, and he's gonna have to really clinch and grind it out. Like, I mean, try to take him down and just kind of wear him out. But RDA's, man, he's a totally different fighter than when he first began, and I think he's gonna win. So, but thank you guys, man. Awesome insight. So now we're on to UFC 200, which is definitely the biggest card of all time. There are like 12 fights. I believe it's 5 main card fights, and then the rest of them are undercard fights. But every single fight is pretty much main event potential, whether it's a fight night or even a UFC event. I mean, some of them probably wouldn't do very good if it was a UFC event, but you know what I mean? Like they're good fights. I mean, so we'll go down the list. I mean, first of all, guys, what do y'all think? I mean, y'all saw the card. We got Takanori Gomi versus Jim Miller, Thiago Santos versus Gegard Mousasi, Joe Lozon versus Diego Sanchez, Sage Northcutt versus Enrique Marin, Kelvin Gastelum versus Johnny Hendricks, Juliana Pena versus Kat Zingano, TJ Dillashaw versus Rafael Sancho, Travis Brown versus Cain Velasquez, Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar, Misha Tate versus Amanda Nunez, Brock Lesnar, now added to the card for the draw, versus Mark Hunt, and John Jones versus Daniel Cormier. Is this not the most stacked card from top to bottom, man? I mean, like, 'cause I've seen stacked cards in the main card, but I mean top to bottom.
Yeah, man, that's probably the best card they've other than the UFC 100. That's the best card they've ever put on. Each one of those is worthy of a main event status. So it's definitely, you have guys that fight main events and pay-per-views fighting on an undercard. They're not even gonna make the main card. So that's quite a bit right there.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be an awesome event. So let's talk about the first undercard. Well, I don't know if it's gonna be the first one, but one of the first undercard fights: Takanori Gomi versus Jim Miller. What do y'all think about that?
The black belt's going to take it to Jim